Kevin Chaos here. Today we're going to have some fun controversy. So this video will be called Educating Bitches. Now first, we must give the little preamble, the little warning, the little if you're too sensitive, tune out right now. So, that being said, my name is Kevin Chaos. I may present opinions, behaviors, or antics that may be touching for some viewers. You may find yourself triggered to some of the sensitive areas or direct speech of which I am about to present. However, this is entirely an opinion piece. I am speaking of my life and not of yours, and I exercise my right to free speech and satire and whimsy in being able to bitch as much as I'd like about these types of subjects. That said, the following is not necessarily meant to be taken so black and white, but to have fun at some of the common ridiculous problems one might face with females. Or as they're called to some, and not all are, bitches. So this will be called Educated Bitches. It'll be entirely spontaneous, but I'll be thinking of some good examples of people I've seen in my life. Of course, our goal here is not to slander anybody, but to wake people up to the ridiculous things that we do. So I'm going to use one particular person as a really good example, but we won't mention any names. Just some of the things that people go through to contradict and harm themselves while thinking contrary. Okay. So, my name is Kevin what? Chaos. Just hearing the name, you should know I'm complicated. I call myself Chaos. My religion that I subscribe to is called Satanist. Just hearing the religious label, you should know I'm complicated. I may be difficult for you to handle, too much, too assertive, too strong. I may not be as sensitive as you would like. Now, I do take care of people, but I may not curtail to every single feeling that you may have while you act out of line. That said, here are some of the common problems in dealing with bitches. According to my opinion. Keep that in mind. Can't flag this video on an opinion piece. Alright. I'd like to point out, you can call me a nasty guy, call me narcissist, call me self-entitled, when I think it's often quite the opposite. However, I know my worth. I'm an intelligent person. This is true. Okay? I'm compassionate and understanding and patient for a time. This is true. But I do know my worth and I do love myself. Now, loving myself, unlike some of you bitches that need to constantly fill that void, I don't necessarily need another. It's nice to have those, and it's always nice when you fit in or agree with people, sure. But since I love me, I can't be dominated or persuaded or bullied or what have you to seek my love elsewhere. That does not mean that I won't necessarily care for you. But it means that you have no power over me in blackmailing or extorting or wishy-washy, going in between desires and contradicting yourself all the time. The fact of the matter is, you chose me. Multiple times, likely. You chose to be here. Now let's take some responsibility for our lives, bitches. When, it's fun saying that when I never use the word. You chose to be here. From the very first hello, how are you? Assuming you even asked. Because you probably didn't thinking all about your own emotions and needs and forsaking the entire outside world so that you can stay there. But from the very first hello, you chose to engage in conversation. You chose to initiate new conversations. You chose, if you were ever offended by me, whether logical or self-imposed, if you've ever decided to have a bad time, you chose to return to this. That's very hard for me to understand when people make a list of all the things they love, only to contradict them and say that they hate the exact same list later, where they love you, and they'd like to leave you at any given time, and then love you again. You know, it's very hard for me to understand why people choose to deal with things. As one of my videos described, I believe it was called Life Loco 1. Why are you here if this is so unpleasant for you? Let's discuss some of those possibilities. Codependency. You need that love from another. That thing that I said I don't need. The same way. I can appreciate and I can enjoy love from another. However, at the end of the day, and you quite frankly prove it with all your emotional roller coaster belts, I'm all I have. And I love me just the same. I grow all the time. I learn all the time. I look back on my life and take responsibility for choices, mistakes, and actions. Do you? So, some interesting things come to my life and challenge. Like, say you spent money on a taxi cab to go to a guy's house to have sex with him. Strange. While you have a kid, while you dupe friends into watching your child, so that you can go engage in this sorts of behavior, right? Okay, that's all well and good, I guess. It's not exactly responsible, it's not exactly what's good for the kid, and it's not necessarily as good for you, as I often talk about things like love equals sex, sex equals love, because it's not. When you hear conversations from a woman that says, I feel empty, I don't feel anything really but anger, I never feel anything, and let me know pretty much that that's how you learn to feel, your judgment skills for or against me can't be trusted. Your love for or against me cannot be trusted. The fact of the matter is you chose to come here, and you choose to continue to come here. I'm never talking to you again. 20 minutes later, what are you doing? You're the bad guy. Later on, 12 minutes to a half of a day later, you're apologizing and telling me and almost seeming to take responsibility for certain things just to repeat them, to come to the ultimate same conclusion that I'm the bad guy. So I must ask again, you finicky, fickle, roller coaster, flip-floppy bitches, in my opinion, why are you here then? If I'm the bad guy. Now, well, let's think even, because there's tons of ways this can go, and I've heard all kinds of interesting slander, interesting hate. I've gotten stalked. One person recently, 16 different identities. Wait, don't misunderstand me. I don't mean to say that she has 16 identities. I mean to say that she went out of her way to create 16 Google accounts and 16 TextNow accounts so that she has 16 phone numbers, unable to let go. Talk about clingy. Of course, this person describes himself as clingy. But is it clingy to any of the morals or virtues or strengths that matter that are going to bring you things? I don't think so. If it's what hurts you or you're hurting others, I don't think so. Now, you could block this type of person, but then they come back with more. You could argue and defend yourself against this type of person with their long list of complaints, but it's not going to do any good. And to walk away from trifling, aggressive, violent, Neanderthalic situations is just as bad as arguing back, apparently. So why are you here? Seems in a way, for many of these people, there's really no way to get rid of them. Trust me. They'll just create 16 more accounts, apparently. They'll text you, they'll call you, they'll pick out all your friends, talk about obsess. But I'm the bad guy. I'm this detestable thing, and it's so hard to understand that you're willing to go through all of these elaborate steps to keep me in your life, no matter how bad I must be. It's fucking really hard to get, man. In one of these scenarios, a woman spent $20 per taxi ride on what would otherwise be a short walk. Money that I asked for them not to spend, thinking about their needs and their goals and their health and their circumstances and their life and their fluid, etc., etc. Only to have it thrown back in your face later when you didn't ask for these things. In fact, this person might make it seem like many people do. All the good things I've done for you, can't you just... and try to manipulate you into even more favor than the constant sacrifice you're already doing, dealing with temper tantrums, dealing with violence, dealing with aggression. So she wanted $80. Are you fucking kidding me? $80 because you decided to make decisions to come here and fulfill your own sexual lusts and needs. Wow. No fucking way I'm giving you $80. No way. This is the type of person who will destroy every relationship they have, that chooses not to have friends, that lets me know all of this psychology. So for a time, we're patient with you bitches. We listen to you, despite the fact that you think we didn't, about all your post-traumatic stress, about all the people who've hurt you in the past, about how, when, and why you make decisions. Including your sorries, because we know you're out of control. You're not in control, or you wouldn't do these sorts of repeats. Yet you come back and repeat. And all the while never really looking at your own reflection of the parts of the scenarios you're doing. If someone defends themselves against your violent escapades, case in point, this person made the 15 identities. She told me 16. She told me that my phone number had been given out to complete strangers. My address had been given out to complete strangers. Advocated violence and aggression. Told me I had to watch my back. All these sorts of things, which are highly incriminating of yourself, mind you. And some of the identities under these false names, she tried to pretend to be different people, but eventually would, like every liar, eventually get caught by someone intelligent, recognizing the patterns, unable to keep up their shifted character that they're trying to pretend to be. And engaging in conversation after that, she would further incriminate herself. Somehow still feel you're superior, right? Incriminate herself, let me know that most of these accounts were her own doing, and that I'm a dumb pussy and shit for even playing along, blah, blah, blah. What she did by admitting that and telling me her name in a text is telling me, hey, this is actually me the whole time. I'm the one stalking you. I'm the one threatening you with violence. I'm the one creating problems and making sure to keep a paper trail of that. In fact, it's so true that the person would feel guilty later, bitches, and demand in her aggression that I go. First, she asked me to start over. Let's start over. I don't want to do this anymore. Neither do I. Sweet. Cool. Let's close the book. Sweet. No more war. No more silly shit. No more back and forth from people allegedly willing to love each other. Right? Close the book, right? But when you're willing to agree with that, close the book, cool. Okay, cool. I like that idea. And ask if they would like to be friends or just cut it off entirely because you really don't want any more. Then the impulsive reaction comes, well, let's just start over. Okay. So now I get to forget everything that's ever happened before today, start over as if it's a brand new clean slate, only for on day one, bitches, for you to go over a month into the past, look for some obscure Facebook post that I'm not supposed to remember starting over because it's a brand new thing, no past, good or bad, to find and blow up a store. You even give your own ideas of lying and putting on a mask and starting over a chance. Emotional, are we, bitches? Codependent, are we? Of course, remember, this is all an opinionated piece and inspired by real life events that happen too often. People are caught up in their emotions. The fact of the matter is, this person, to continue to use this person without naming an example, is lonely. They don't have anybody. They spend all of their time playing Nintendo DS. And, excuse me for being nasty at this point, but this person has proved to be nothing but a nasty person, constantly leeching off of the success, the money, the happiness, the strong feelings, and attention of others. On to telling me about what they think of sex, and even if they were ever going to get married, they would still want to kind of get out of jail free card to be able to go have sex with brown people because they have a fetish for brown people. This is what's been told to me. So there is no truth in this person. Yeah, I'm supposed to continue allowing myself to be vulnerable, argue or don't argue, and let someone walk all over you and shit on you every single day while you get no reward, just a list of what's wrong with you every day. But if everything's so wrong with you, why are you here? And you come back and you repeat and you come back and I'll never deal with you again. You literally ask me to press charges on you legally knowing you fucked up. You push for this feed and attention. I decide I don't want to argue with you and you try every other tactic you can. That's a problem, bitches. Go seek happiness. I mean, dude, come on. If we're the scum, then let us be scum. All men are like this. Well, let all men be like that. Go date a woman. You told me you're bisexual. Oh, you did date a woman and she came to the same conclusions of you. Right? Because she's my friend too. Interesting shit. But you failed there as well. And to quote her or yourself, we know you fucked up. We know that you're selfish. These are your friends talking about you. We know that you're aggressive and angry all the time, that you only serve yourself, and that you're a professional manipulator. This is what's been told to me. What you've told me directly. People don't exist in my world. Buddhist background tells you outside of your mind that nobody really exists, yet you have to seek that outside of your mind to go fucking fulfill these sexualities and such, don't you? You let me know that you're afraid of being blackmailed, but no one's ever done that. But you're terrified of losing your kid. You let me know that you're going to court for your kid over losing because you act like this. You let your emotions spiral out of control. You never take any personal responsibility and reflection. Do anything to change the fact that it doesn't have to be me, you see, bitches. It will be someone else. It will catch up to you. Someone will harm you back. Someone will talk back. Someone will act back. Not everybody is just going to try to be patient, understanding, and analyze the psychology. And every story is a good partner, caring about everything you've said, trying to help you reach the next level while being stomped into the dirt, while being disrespected on a daily basis, while being hated and called love, while turning friends and people against them, while stalking, while threatening bodily harm and violence. Not a whole lot of people will do that, and some will, like the guy being extorted so that you have a roof over your head. So if I know all this in advance, why would I let you eat me? Right? Why would I let you eat at me forever? I wouldn't. It's So if you give me a way out and you say you're done with me, only 20 minutes change your mind, well, guess what? I can still be done with you. You can learn the hard way. Fact of the matter is, you have needs that you're not willing to do for yourself. You seek those needs from men that you can later hate because they're not completely subservient, because they're men. They're not slaves, dude. They're not submissive most of the time. And you keep coming back here. Here, you want what I have, period. You've acknowledged that I'm smarter than you, yet try to act as if you're smarter. You try to show me a bigger ego, as if I'm not going to douse the flames with my water. You act like I'm not going to protect myself when someone's trying to destroy public reputation, friend circles, while they're threatening bodily harm and doing that stuff. I find it incredibly strange. Granted, everything that we know, that you have the emotional need to engage in war if that's all that you can get, because you're so lonely that at least even in war you have some attention, at least in arguments, at least then you still get some attention and you don't have to only watch anime alone by yourself and illegally stream anime cartoons to your audience of one viewer on Twitch while you play alone your Nintendo DS with no friends there either. While you tell me that you have no friends, that you fuck up everywhere you go. These are your words. Now, I try to build you up instead of just agreeing with all that shit, but god damn, something needs to change if you don't like the outcome. You gotta do something different that leads up to a new outcome. You told me you have no friends. You told me you fuck up everywhere you go. You told me you have problems with people, that you argue with them, and that you slander, and that it always ends up the same way. How could I possibly believe that I'm the bad guy then? How could I possibly entertain you for too long on some negative thought train? We've discussed in videos in the past, walking through a garden and with someone who only wants to look for the shit on the ground instead of all of the beautiful opportunities and shit around us. We've discussed this. But for a lot of women, they look for the darkness. One word you said wrong that you probably didn't even say wrong. In fact, this person is so interesting that if I were to say that I liked the movie Air Bud, she would immediately reply with, I don't fucking like the movie Air Bud, as if I spoke for her or about her when I only spoke of me. That's how selfish this individual is. That's how caught up in their own feelings about their delusions of grandeur, their ego, that they get to be. And I find it difficult because in the circumstance that I'm in right now, there really is no way out. Except for penalizing someone criminally, right? Or playing back into the warfare. No matter how many accounts you block, their neediness for that constant attention, even if it's not affection, their neediness, that they're so alone and so self-loathing, they've told us, they hate themselves when they don't completely adore themselves. And it is a flip and a flop between the two. It's bipolar, which has also been told to me. I think I'm bipolar. Well, I'll agree with you, but it's not appropriate to tell you that I agree with you, but I do agree. The difference between me and a lot of folks is I know exactly what I want and don't want, exactly what I need and don't need. I know the road I'm traveling. You're still hitchhiking on other people's bodies and assets. You need a certain man that you don't really need, but definitely need, because you felt threatened that you would lose it all. Lose what? Then you need it. A man to manipulate for a roof over your head. I, quote, ruined her life, or could have ruined her life, because I showed up and knocked on the door while she's using this guy. This guy that she will lead on to a point, cheat on as well, and get friends to watch her kids so that she can go have sex that she pays for and then try to blackmail for money down the road for choices all your own. And I hope that this video educates to a point, because what I do, whether I say it out loud or not, and it needs to be known, is I hold you responsible for you just as much as I'm responsible for me, whether that's entertaining any slander or hate. I have the responsibility to go do something different. I do not have to do this dumb shit. It's dumb. Okay? Similarly, if you choose to spend your wallet to go have sex, that is your choice. That is not the responsibility of a man that you chose to do stuff that he specifically said, save your money, you might need this later, and advised you from. For you to go do that and think you have some power, which women do like to do a lot, in my opinion, of coming at you later with a list of the alleged good things they did for you that were really all about their own wants and desires anyway. Just to spend time with you. Doing what? What did you do when you were here? Exactly. When I tried to watch movies or to do other things and want a bigger life than just that, what were you interested in? Feeling close, special, attentive to, you needed that illusion. Well, I don't. It's nice. I do care a lot for you. However, sex does not rule my world. Codependency, needing other people in my life. No, I have tons of people in my life, but it's not the only way to be happy, and they can exist and come and go, argue or not, the whole bit. You exist to look for darkness. You literally get off, call people pussy, argue, scream, swear. Every now and then you realize the truth, which is that you're wrong. You humbly ask for forgiveness. I'm sorry. You beg for people to take you back. You beg for people not to give up on you. Please don't ever leave me. I can't be alone. All of this interesting stuff. Then they're not the bad guy, and we all know it. You're begging someone to deal with your brokenness, and for a time they might. But for a time. See, for me, I don't want to have someone treat me like shit forever for no reward. Sex isn't good enough for me. And you've already tried to use that against me. While you squirt all over my entire bed. Later on, you might want me to believe that you've never orgasmed. When you get 6 or 7 before I allow myself to do anything, right? Nice guys finish last, they say. At least. And then I still would do more. Open your mouth, bitch. Not in an argument. You do. You get everything. This man, and I'm sure many others, like the guy under your roof that hasn't clocked you senseless, but apparently your ex-boyfriends and your ex-friends beat the shit out of you all the time. Well, I am not surprised. And not to say I'm not sympathetic or that anybody should put any hands on each other, but I can understand. Because if it were a guy, they would already fought. Someone would have closed your fucking mouth, man. I understand it. If all you have is narcissistic, toxic bullshit to spew while people are handing you money and time and favor and sex and any other wish you could fucking have, I could understand the ungratefulness being shut the fuck up. I can understand that. Now, would I ever do that? Absolutely not. Plus, I'm one more for psychology. You're hooked. You're still here. I don't even have to play into it for that to happen because you have a need that you will not fulfill for yourself, and you have a strength that as much as you've condemned in me, you have admired. I have been called crazy, mentally ill. I've had my religion, Satanist, used against me, or tried to, in an argument of all these things that are supposed to be bad with me, while I've also been told from the very same person that they wanted to be a Satanist. They felt complimented when I say it looks like they're further down the satanic path than me. They renamed themselves schizophrenic-like, anime watcher, right? To Satania, totally stolen from an anime, by the way. Mimic your actions, manipulate until they fail. You know, I've been told that the fact that I was willing to walk down their house and knock on their door was a strength. I can't believe you were so ballsy to do this, and how sexy and attractive that is. That I'm a strong-willed individual. It's only later when you're unhappy with yourself that you can try to blame the rest of the world for your unhappiness. And that's what I hope you folks realize with codependence. This is especially true of romance, and this is especially true of women. If you know what's good for you, and you think you do sometimes, act on it. Even if you're wrong, at least you've created a permanent answer for a path to follow instead of hopping the fence over and over on whether you're for or against. This is a good guy, this is an enemy. I should scream, I should apologize and let him know I love him so he doesn't abandon me to feel all this stuff repeatedly alone as I destroy every friendship I ever have. You know, she's got very few people in her life, people that are in the same state, but that refuse to even see her. In fact, when she asked me about the money, it's because she wanted to go, have fun somewhere else after you're already doing all this shit? You're out of your goddamn mind. You wanted to use the $80 so you could travel through Virginia to go see other fucking friends? Now, if I had it like that, and if I wanted to help you, and if you came to me the right way, maybe I'd take care of that. But the fact of the matter is, you're being a nasty bitch to me on repeat, and you're thinking I'm going to reward bad behavior. You did this. In fact, the way that I handle everything is I give everybody who I am up front. My rules, my religion up front. You don't have to be ruled by me. That's not my fucking goal. My goal is to, like minds can stick around. Those who aren't can opt out early on. So there's no secrets, there's no lies, there's no slander, there's no manipulation. I never have to tell a fucking lie, which is another thing that people hate when I'm a man of my word. And then therefore, if I say something on how I'll defend myself or what I'll do if you don't get the fuck off my back, I'll remove you, then you know I mean it, right? So you hate that shit. Yet I've been challenged and pushed in between different emotional swings and ego to stand for my word on certain things. Every other thing but a couple listed has already happened. You've already seen it. Do you really want me to do all that? And you can call it blackmail or not, the fact that I'm worried about your health. You can call it blackmail or not, the fact that I worry that you're extorting this guy. You can call it blackmail or not, that I think that you are not a fit fucking mother and fear for the safety of this fucking child you have. That's not blackmail. And it ain't about hurting me. You don't just hurt me, you hurt other people, and you hurt yourself, and you live on this repetitious cycle, feeding off the energy, the money, and the power of others. And I'm not down for that. Sorry about your luck. When you deal with me, you're dealing with a real fucking person. This is a contract. You told me what you want. I conform to it. You change your desires. I conform to it to a certain point. Okay? I'm working with you on your level because you're clearly not on this thinking level up here. You're in this feeling level down here. And when you feel hurt, you are tuning into hurt. So you look for everything else that can hurt you, everything else you can complain about. I do understand that psychologically. I understand psychologically in having post-traumatic stress disorder that I can't even carry my pocket knife on me because it terrifies you. Because even though you've never actually been attacked with a knife, you've had people beat you in the past. For shit that you did, mind you. But I also don't necessarily approve. But I get being afraid that one day someone will hand you your ass. It's not going to be me. I don't need to do that. Besides, if I really want you hurt, it's way more effective to let you hurt longer than a single strike to the face. I'd rather you be cursed by your own thoughts and your own feelings as you roll around in your repetitive life circles, going right back to where you began. Back to homelessness, up, back to moving, up, back to starting making new friends, up, they don't want to be my friend, let's try again, whoop. I'd rather you suffer from facing yourself, and one day that will come, but only when you hit rock bottom. I'll tell you what it's not going to come at. My expense. It's not going to come at my time. It's not going to come at my wallet. I don't need to tell you that you're wrong or right. I don't need to defend myself that I'm wrong or right. If you've decided I'm good for you in your life, then that will reflect. If you've decided that I'm a monster, then that will reflect. It doesn't make me a monster, and you're entitled to your feelings, and you're entitled to your thoughts and opinions. But there's no showing good things to someone looking for darkness. We've talked about this in past videos. So the problem with bitches is this lack of self-awareness. There are strong women out there. There are independent women out there. There are people that have their shit together, that have goals, that want something more out of life than petty bickering or leeching off of other people's strengths and success or looking for love through sex. I was told specifically, I'm empty, I'm lonely, I don't feel anything. I was also told that that's what a week from now she would like to have sex with me to fill that void so she can feel something. I was told that. So I'm very, 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 very aware of whoever's speaking to me, thoughts and words, okay? I pay attention. I'm invested in a bigger picture. I'm not invested in an argument. I'm focused on what matters. I'm business-oriented. We're going to this goal. We're going to have to overlook some small things. We're going to meet some barriers and some obstacles on occasion. And it's going to take some work to work past some of those. You had a past that fucked you up and turns you into a person trying to survive that acts very nasty and shuts things down as fast as they can and talks nasty and hurts people so that you don't have to be hurt before it even really happens. I know psychology, okay? That doesn't make it right. This is your partner, your friend, your pal, your buddy, insert a label, that is trying to support you. Supporting you is not the same thing as being subservient to you. Supporting you is not the same thing as being submissive. It doesn't make the other person less, and it definitely doesn't make them a pussy if they walk away, leaving you to argue and scream at yourself. This is an attempt to spare both of you. The guy doesn't have to be ignorantly battered down, and the girl doesn't have to be battered back, okay? Neither person gets destroyed. The argument ends if you allow them to walk away, and no one has to do any whiplash or blackmail, if you want to call any of these things that, because you like to throw around words when you're upset. And it seems very common also, women, that you like to blame people of what you're doing. Oh, you're careless. Let me be careless. You're not considerate. Let me be considerate. Whatever it is. And the fact of the matter is, really, they're considering you more than you're considering you. That's why you're coming to them, fulfill the needs that you won't fulfill for yourself, whether it be sex, money, power, company, friends. You could go seek these things out in a healthier, easier environment, but you don't. So you're coming to us for something that you don't have yet. And it's very obvious, and especially true of Satanism. You leech off of strong personality types because the fact of the matter is, and you know it inside, you're an emotional weakling. Right now, you have the potential for greatness, but you've lost sight of yourself. So you're leeching off of strong figures that are less easy to budge, while at the same time being pissed that they're less easy to budge because they're not submissive and subservient to you, while you'd like to be in control, while you haven't re-earned control yet. You like to be in control. And you can't control someone who loves themselves, pretty much. You know, they spend a lot of time and money on you, but they're aware that they're spending a lot of time and money on you. They're aware that they're spending energy on you. They're aware that you want to have sex 20 times a day. They're aware. Okay? So they've already given it to you. The difference is we know we did it. I don't go back later and remind you, hey, remember I had sex with you 20 times in a day and I didn't even get to fucking listen to my music, you know, because that's all that you like, you know. And I've tried to get people to, I mean, you show me your life, and I tune into your life as much as you allow me to, but the fact of the matter is people use you for shit. Bitches are too codependent, man. I'm not even going to deal with any that aren't completely submissive anymore, because this is the shit that happens. You can't, and the funny thing is, I would be the submissive if the person was capable of being in control. That would be fine, but they're not. They flip in between whether they want to take control or worry about everything. They flip being between whether they're dominant and assertive and will tell you everything that they'd like to happen to whether they shouldn't have to tell a man anything and he should already know, and he does. Listen to your constant up and down, contrary thoughts, contradicting thoughts as you constantly bipolarly flip in between them. That's the problem with emotion versus intelligence. So this kind of loosely follows Life Look 01 because it fucks my head up just a little bit that you don't have the strength, that you leech off of me for my strength, that you ask my opinions on shit, you come to me. It's me. You coming to me, the very thing that you like to occasionally paint as an enemy. And I'm supposed to believe that I am at times, and that I'm this worthless thing, but what do you do when you're in the right? Humble yourself up, apologize, knowing what you did. And it doesn't take very long for you to flip back into demon mode, but that means part of you is aware of it. It also means part of you is manipulating me for further chances. I don't need you in my life. I hate to burst your bubble. You're nice. I wanted good things. I always want good things. I still want good things for you after you leave. I just got blocked after getting a bunch of fucking hate mail. And then not even, what was it? It was exactly 19 minutes later, I got texted from one of the fucking alternate numbers. I'm disappointed. Sad face. Be disappointed. Who are you disappointed in? Me, the person you knew the whole time that's constantly shape-shifting to fucking whatever it needs to be? Or you, for also knowing that I'm constantly shape-shifting and not knowing what the fuck you want? Or maybe you're just disappointed that you lost and don't get any more. That's what I think. You're disappointed. You know, I wanted to reply, I didn't. Because it's stupid. This is fucking ignorant. Your emotional shit is not what I'm about. But I would like to say whimsically, I'm glad to meet your expectations and disappointment. I'm glad that I could be all of the negative shit that you'd like to imagine on a day by ignoring you after your slander and attacks. Or maybe reply, because one of the messages I got before the block was, I'm never talking to you again. We're done talking forever. 19 minutes later is how long forever is in an emotional bitch's mind, in my opinion. 19 minutes later, that was a long forever. I'm disappointed. I hope you do get disappointed. I hope you learn from some of the shit you do, because it's not my job to figure out everything for you, and I've been wasting way too much effort and time, way too much energy, way too much compassion, way too much sacrifice of my needs to take care of your emotional ass. Just for you to repeat the sins against yourself and other fucking people with your anger that is out of control. With your self-loathing, you described it that way, that is out of control. Okay? Your anger. You told me it's out of control. I'd rather not spend the rest of my life working for someone that can't not only acknowledge herself, but the respect the effort and energy being put toward their fucking needs. You know how much shit I can get accomplished when I'm not dealing with you emotional people? And it's okay to have emotions, but what you should remember, as Life Look has tried to show you, this you all really, but you know, is I'm your partner. We're working together. You should remember that even while you feel the lowest you've ever felt at times. You should remember this guy's been helping, and that's all he's ever fucking done, and not to take everything out on him and find ways to do that, because you're going to lose your leg of support. You know, if you're this leech that seeks everything you get from other fucking people, then you're going to lose that asset. He's not going to be able to keep dumping his purse out. He's not going to be able to keep sacrificing days, hours, minutes at a time to deal with this shit that doesn't benefit him in any way. You're going to lose that asset. But do you think about it? Of course you don't think about that. That's why every other friendship you have just about has failed. It's why you're in the situation you're in. That's why you're living with a man you don't love. It's why you have to lie about X, Y, Z to be able to accomplish even these sneaky little goals you have to not feel empty and feel sex instead. I hope, because there's strong women out there, but I hope you guys wake up, whether a guy's good or bad to you, whether you perceive it as good or bad, that you just start to make just a little bit more of your own decisions. Instead of leeching emotionally off of the strength or the weakness of others and playing games of who's more dominant today, and you should be equals. That's how it should be. You're equals, your partners, your friends, your pals. You're working towards similar goals. It should not be trading places on who's dominant, submissive, who's better or worse. Let's list off each other's sins. Oh, this is what's wrong with you. Yeah, well, this is what's wrong with you. That's stupid. It's not going to get you any fucking where. That's going to create the same feeling you've been holding on to this whole time with your codependent ass, with your emotional ass, with your PTSD ass. It's going to create you holding on to pain, looking for pain. What bad thing will happen next? Every time you smile will become an excuse to shut that shit down immediately. I was raised by a narcissist, trust me enough. Every time you smile will be an excuse to shut it down, stop your happiness immediately, because you're worried about who's going to take it and what's going to happen next, and look for, and therefore create, that very same problem for you to find. Your negative outlook allows you to find a needle in a haystack. It might not even be negative out there, like, I like the movie Air Bud. No, I don't. I didn't talk about you, bitch. See, you were looking for something to disagree. That's the fucking problem. A big part of happiness between any people of any kind of relationship, friendship, or otherwise even stranger, is looking for the optimism, the positivity, the good, especially real good that is proven, not just blind ambition. Looking for the good you share. Looking for what you have in common. Look for what brings harmony and peace and togetherness, you know, instead of what divides you. You know, this is what we have different. You're black versus I'm white or something, you know, like. And so you create a divide, looking for everything different, and that creates more and more divide because you're in the habit of looking for difference. You're in the habit of looking for pain, not joy. So, of course, you knock, and of course, the door will be open to you, and of course, you will seek, and of course, you will therefore then find more to be unhappy about. You've already primed your mind to be emotional and to seek devastation, to seek disappointment, to look for enemies everywhere you go, to look for arguments everywhere you go, to look for what's wrong with something everywhere you fucking go. And is it no wonder then that you haven't succeeded yet? Is it no wonder you've had to reset your life so many times? Is it no wonder that you've told me why and how you've lost so many friends and that nobody chooses to deal with you? Even if you might sometimes more confidently say you don't deal with other people because you run into this everywhere you go. But notice that statement that starts with I run into this everywhere I go. That's you. So certainly, you should eventually get to the point where you know that it's not everybody else, because everywhere you go, you run into X. You create this environment. You create these conversations that people walk away from. You create this blind rage that never dies. You create this hatred that never goes away because you're looking for more hate. You're never going to forgive other people, and you're never going to forgive yourself. You shift between blaming the world, being an enemy, or self-loathing and devastation, your word, self-loathing, to blame yourself and know the truth. Yes, you did this. But what you don't do when you should at those moments, while you blame yourself, is do something to channel a new result. If you know you did X, Y, Z, fuck what everybody else did wrong. We've talked about this in videos. If you know you did whatever, it doesn't matter that he did, she did, whatever. They raise their voice. Oh, wow, okay, cool. It might suck, okay, cool. But what did you do? Did you raise your voice back? Did you lose your control? Did you make idle threats? Did you stalk somebody? Did you go out of your way to engage in warfare and then be mad that 10% of what they did, that 10%, while 90% of you kept up the extra fire and effort to look for and fight and create fucking hatred? You know, so it didn't matter whatever the fuck they did to trigger you. What really mattered was that you continued to do the same set of actions and circumstances that got you to be unhappy with others and yourself in the first place. And you do it everywhere you go. That is codependency. That shit does not fly in my court, okay? I'm looking for respect, I'm looking for love and appreciation, and while I might deal with very nasty shit for a time and choose to be understanding and know your psychology and listen to all your horror stories of your early life that is not today, over and dead in the past, but I do understand the problem and how to view the world that way. You know, we're taking care of you. You're not taking care of you. You are looking to battle. And I'm not very interested in battling. I win battles. I stop enemies. I do not let people just, hey, does this hurt? Cut my arm, right? Say, and yeah, that hurts. Okay, and then they do it again. That's stupid. As if I'm not going to learn from that, and as if it teaches you anything, because you clearly had the answer the first time. Yeah, that hurts. Yeah, that's stupid. If I argue back, if I complain back, if I care about my flesh being cut in this metaphor, does it make a damn bit of difference? No, because even though I heard every emotion and every thought you've ever said, you didn't hear us. You heard your own thoughts echoed. There was an expression that said, women don't want to hear your opinion. They want to hear their opinion in a man's voice. And so we can get to the shape-shifting. I can become whatever you'd like to be around, whatever you'd like to see. And it isn't really a devastation for me. You know, I am many flavors of life. I do what works rather than define myself as just an all happy person or something like you guys might. You know, you might say, I could never be in the wrong. I'm not an angry person. I'm worthy of love. I'm all these positive things. I'm the best thing out there. I recognize my worth. But then when you do that also to that level that some of you do, that means all those negative qualities go unchecked. They do still happen. They are still part of your psychology. They are still part of your reflex. They are still part of your language. They are still part of your emotions. You end up basically compartmentalizing your mind, and all the darkness, evil, hatred, hostility goes into a part that goes unchecked. So then it becomes just acting at random instead of within control like we might like to do. A metaphor I like to give to compare this is you have a rabid dog in your house. That rabid dog is the harsh part of yourself, okay? Whether you choose to acknowledge it or not. Okay, you have this rabid dog in your house. It's out of control. It's tearing up the furniture. The house and the furniture is also you. Okay, and it's just going amok, tearing everything up. But because you refuse to acknowledge that there is a rabid dog in there, you don't give it medicine. You don't put a chain on it. You don't put it to its own room and make sure it knows its place. Because you have a rabid dog in the house that is you, the temple that is you, and you ignore it. It tears apart your furniture. It destroys your house. The rabid dog is you. The furniture is you. The house is you. You're tearing up your own opportunities by refusing to acknowledge a part of you that exists. And so that emotion never gets tamed. That maturity never gets attained. You instead get to behave flippantly, willy-nilly between these different characters. And emotionally, I can understand the illusion that they give you strength. Ego gives you the illusion of strength. Acting Billy Badass makes you feel that way. And hopefully you'll forget that you're not. And forget about the weakness and forget about the sadness while you put on the guise that you're Teflon and nothing can harm you. I do understand, but it does not make the problems go away. It doesn't actually make you win. It doesn't actually destruct the opponent. What it does is it basically puts some of your problems on the back burner to continue to actually burn until your house fills up with fire. You need to take responsibility for you. This goes to any emotional woman. You need to take responsibility for you. It's okay that the guy's wrong. It's okay if you have a list of complaints. It's not going to get you anywhere bringing them up. You know, I love you, but here's some negative shit. Or here's some negative shit. I need a favor. That's not going to go very well. And even if they were in the wrong, and even if you have those valid ideas in your head, but talking about it clearly doesn't get you the change that you want, therefore, those are your thoughts and your feelings. It has nothing to do with the other person. You can keep them to yourself, and you can continue to extort the person more successfully by not being deviant with only negative things to say. You can keep to yourself the unhappiness, share the joy, and find way more better times by not every single chance you get looking for some hatred to spout, while you still come to that other person with some kind of need or want. I need company. I'm lonely. I need sex. I don't feel anything. I need some money. I spent all mine irresponsibly, even though he told me not to. Does it get through? Does it make sense to you folks? I mean, I am not codependent. And it's turning into a problem that I don't need you. Any of you. I mean, don't take it the wrong way. I admire and I appreciate all of you, and you all have strengths and weaknesses and shit like that. But it's turning into a problem for other people, particularly. That I am not a sad bastard with a fuck ton of needs and life skills that I haven't figured out. It's turning into a problem for other people that I'm not leeching off of their emotions and their minds. That I don't look to them for an instant fix to all of my problems. That I mean, because I guess this is the way average people behave. I'm going to look to you for everything that I ever fucking need because I can't do shit for myself. That's not who I am, and I'm not condemning people for having PTSD or emotional difficulties or any of that, but what I'm doing is highlighting the very real need for awareness of the self-character, of the emotional roller coaster that you put yourself on while you project your insecurities onto people. There was a point where I talked to a girl on, I hadn't heard from her in years, and I talked to her and didn't give this person all of my energy and arguments and shit, and I must have been dating somebody else. You know how it goes. Insecurity flies wild. So insecure, in fact, that she made up a female name, of which I have no friends with that name. Bethany. Some wild shit. You're looking for pain and despair. Cut it out. You wanted to be unhappy. You look for ways that every time you have a good time can go wrong. Right? Every time you have a good time, you're looking for the next instant that you can tear that shit apart. What's up, bitches? I don't understand. We're different species, they say. I am very compassionate, very considerate, very giving, very patient. But the fact of the matter is, you're you and I'm me. We should not have to sacrifice each other. We should not have to sacrifice all of our needs. It shouldn't be about leeching off of one another either. You go do you and be the flower that I can admire that is your own flower. Not let me pluck you from the ground and make you into a tea for what it can do for me. I'd rather appreciate something for what it is, not for how best it can serve me, not for how good I can manipulate it, and it should be the same for you. You shouldn't need to change and destroy things. You shouldn't need to bitch that this flower doesn't look the same about the other flowers or whatever. You come up with shit, man. The flower should be fine, doing its own thing, surrounded by flowers of similar breeds that go in the same field. This flower is just as good as this different flower over there. It's just as good. They have their own greatness, their own failures, their own medicinal properties, their own aesthetic beauty content. Neither one is wrong per se, but when you're demanding the flower to be plucked, to change constantly, and even then, even if they did change somehow, you found 15 uses for the flower, you took away from what it was. And you no longer appreciated the flower, but instead appreciated what it could do for you. And your desires, they constantly change, so you've lost sight entirely of what it was before you ever became so needy, so emotional, so demanding, so self-entitled, selfish. Emotions are a hard thing to deal with, but if you're going to choose to have a partner or a friend, you might want to remember that they're a part or a friend. Right? That makes sense to me. I was done with this shit before I started. Okay? From the first example you gave me, from the first very long list. Okay? Did I choose to be understanding and look past it? Did I choose to understand your PTSD? Did I choose to understand that you're emotional? Did I choose to understand that things take time? But does that make me a punching bag? Absolutely not. Does it make me a wallet to extort because you're irresponsible with your finances? Absolutely not. Does it make me a dick to pogo hop on? No, absolutely fucking not. That happens to mean something special to me. And if that's how you feel love, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but it's not for me. You people need to learn. When you're in a union, a partnership, a friendship, when you share a space with another human being, you are now us, not me. Okay? And that's what I did for you, and that's what I will do for all of you, friend, foe, label list. I will take care of you to the best of my abilities. But it is not only going to forever, and there will be a patience and a lenient period, be a one-way street to where I am the sponge being sucked dry while you're getting the nourishment and hydration that you need. That is not going to happen forever. I'm going to expect to see just a little bit of improvement from time to time, a little bit of self-awareness from time to time, a little bit of you recognizing why you chose to be around this in the first place, or you leaving to excuse yourself because this isn't what works best for you. Casting constant contradicting judgment doesn't help. At some point, you should walk off if you really believe any of your nonsense and go find something. And speaking of that nonsense, let's use this to segue into gaslighting. Okay, this has been talked about some psychologists, and opinions vary, but gaslighting doesn't exist is the predominant theory. Okay? Gaslighting is like when people quote you back to yourself, I guess. They allegedly try to get you to question reality. I mean, come on, man. You're responsible for your thoughts. You're responsible for your emotions, whether you choose to control them or not. That can't possibly be the other person's fault. If I called you a bitch, say, which is the title of this video, okay? If I called you a bitch, you choose how you react to that. You choose if you believe it or not. You choose if you give it credits and acknowledge its truth or falsitude, or just altogether ignore the whole fucking process. You're responsible for you. There is no gaslighting. There is no you engage in an argument with somebody and because you lost your emotional cool while trying to make them lose theirs, you must have been gaslit and forced. You made me feel. You made me do this. Nobody made you do shit, and that shit needs to go way into the extinctive past. Nobody ever made you do shit. You chose to come back to talk to that guy again. You chose to argue or not again when you were done and came back 19 minutes later. You chose every single fucking thing that you as a person did. Action, speech, thought, emotion. You chose what you tuned into. See no, hear no, speak no evil. If they're so bad, tune out. You chose every outcome you've ever received, especially with someone like me, educating the whole way. You know exactly who I am, exactly what I want, exactly what I do, exactly what I don't want, exactly what I won't do. And I've never bluffed, and I've never lied, and I've proven it many times. No matter what spectrum we're on and what we're talking about, I've proven that I have no need to lie. If I'm going to get you back, I'll get you back. If I'm going to be real, I'm going to be real. If these are my interests, these are my interests. Like even if I was using you for sex, which I'm not, but feel free to, I would let you know. This is why we're here, so that we can accomplish what we're here for instead of doing all this extra stage magic, you know? It's just fucking silly, dude. Gaslighting. You made me feel. You made me break that wall. You made me punch a hole in the wall. You made me cut myself. This isn't all this person. It's just further examples, you know. I like to umbrella things all together. You know, because this isn't a slander video. This is just like a wild, philosophical, what are you doing, dude, kind of video. You know, Philip DeFranco has a t-shirt that says, bitches be crazy. Yeah, pretty much. Meanwhile, isn't it interesting that when women get emotional, they accuse you of every fucking thing that they're doing, which is a narcissistic tactic, by the way. You know, if they raise their voice and you raise your voice back, you're yelling. You know, which I choose not to even raise my voice anymore. If literally every tactic that they do, they project as if you're the one doing it. That's classic politics, mudslinging. You know, you accuse your opponent of what you're doing, and it distracts from the fact that you get to look like a bad person because the immediate shift is now over on them doing all of this bad shit. And probably not, but you've entirely stolen and redirected the focus. That's conversational hypnosis, but it doesn't work to people who are aware of it, that are used to people trying to argue. Or if I wanted to use the same excuse as an emotional person, to gaslight. Trying to make me argue back. Make me lose my cool so that you can bend my will a little more. That's not what people are doing to you. You're emotionally weak. That's the truth. There's nothing wrong with that. You can improve upon it. But if you go around anywhere blaming anyone or anything for the lack of quality or success in your life, you're always going to have excuses and you'll never have quality or success because there'll always be something new to blame. There's an old expression that when you point, there's three fingers pointing back at yourself. You know what I'm saying? It can be Kevin, but then when Kevin's gone, who is it? And you don't really like Kevin being gone because every time he tries to walk away, you want to apologize. You want more chances. There's something here that you need and you want. You know you're ungrateful and you know you're fucking up and you know you're hurting people, others, and yourself. That's the truth. So you keep, on a subconscious level, I want to say, who knows how conscious you truly are of it, keep returning to the source. Keep hoping that they shower you with affection and the love that you so desperately need because you won't give yourself or anybody else any love. That's the truth. You need this, you want this, you come here. Your actions, your anger, your temper tantrums, your broken artifacts, you chose to do that. It's all you. If you're cheating on a guy and the guy breaks all of your material possessions while you're in his house, while he spends money on you, he chose that. You chose to have your things broken. You chose to put yourself in a dangerous situation. You chose to leech off of someone that wasn't good for you. You chose to play this power game and open up all kinds of opportunities and scenarios like cheating or sneaking out of the house at 3 a.m. Everything that could go wrong is part of your action. There's never any blame where you can put on anybody else for the walks that you take, for the bus drives you take, for the cab drives that you take, for the unprotected sex that you have, etc., etc., etc. If you got pregnant today, would you blame me? It would be us, wouldn't it? But how all this seems to work is you always are going to need something else to blame. You've made it quite clear, and people do this on occasion, that the only one that matters to you is you, or maybe your child. But clearly your child don't even matter enough to you because you could lose your child by creating all of these scenarios and challenging people that are stronger than you, bullying people until they have to stop your bullying. using your mental illness against people while calling them mentally ill until they have to do a wellness check on you and worry about the safety of both you and your family and the people that live with you. That's not blackmail. That's not extortion. That's you digging a hole, making yourself look bad. And it's so true when you have to ask people to erase posts that you've made on Facebook. You've made nasty comments. You've made a paper trail. You've destroyed your own image that you need up and intact. Rules of power. Guard your reputation at all costs. You need that intact so that you can have further victims to exploit to bring you whatever it is that you need, that you're not building for yourself, not earning for yourself, not acting for yourself. You're going to need them to keep coming until you can do it on your own. And I hoped getting out of this house eventually, getting a job eventually, having some real friends, which I've tried to even offer you some of mine, but you can't even do that right. That you could have the positive influences and surroundings necessary to build a better attitude, a more positive outlook on life, feel a little more control, a little more capable. You're making your own money at that point. You're making your own decisions. You're driving your own car, yada, yada, yada. And if you felt a little more in control from life, you might not need to demand other people's lives out from under them. You might not need to look for love elsewhere when you can apply yourself to your own life and you can recognize love when it comes. And wow, this is nice. I think I'll enjoy this. Wow, this is not nice. I don't think that I'll do that again. That's what I ultimately hope to get to. But instead, most people are just so codependent. If the world is against me in any way, if they disagree in any way, if they take care of themselves and they don't deal with me being the marauding tyrant, they must be public enemy number one, and I'm going to fight them tooth and nail. I'm going to get all emotional. I'm going to blame them for all my problems. Even if that person ignores me and doesn't talk to me a week, a month, whatever, I'm going to find a way to excuse all of my life events due to them fucking up my mood, them gaslighting me. Oh, they ruined my life by knocking on the door while telling me ahead of time, an hour ahead, that they were coming over. The whole bit. I mean, you're choosing this. And you're often choosing your own happiness if you want happiness and your own demise if you want demise. And that's why I say so much, peace be with those who wish for peace. Do you wish for peace? Because I don't want anything to deal with this. And I can't even get out of this situation. You block someone, they have 15, 16 more identities. You block those, they come up with more. They brag that they can create a Google account in 2 seconds, which is not exactly true, but close enough. And they can have a new Google account, new email, new Facebook, and new phone number. There is no just walking out of this particular war. There is no, and I can ignore the person. That's pretty much what I have. I can ignore or I can argue. I can ignore or I can destroy you. I can take away your children. It's not about that's the goal. But it's not only me you're putting in this situation. You're putting your kid in that horrible post-traumatic stress. You're passing on your illness to your child by tirading, ranting, and raving, and screaming, and fighting, and setting such a great example of what it is to be a mother that only loves herself and her kid, right? That's not fucking blackmail. That's me worried about you. And I'm not even saying that I'm going to do anything about it necessarily, but if I did, it would be because you're hurting yourself and others. You are toxic. You need some fucking help, and it's okay to need fucking help. But blaming the rest of the world while a fucking little child fucking suffers, and multiple people that you want to extort may or may not suffer on varying degrees, guess it makes me a bad person. Makes me a bad person that you're already going to court over this with some other guy because you've already done this, and they want to make you look mentally unstable, which they don't have to do because you do it to yourself. It's another reason why you need the paper trails of your mistakes gone. Have you ever just thought about not making mistakes? You can even be a narcissist and manipulator, but if you're leaving a paper trail, you failed. If you're talking online, you fucking failed because the most intelligent person in the world is eventually going to fuck up somewhere. Accidentally contradict themselves. Accidentally tell the truth somewhere. You're going to fuck up. You shouldn't ever leave a paper trail. All important things need to be done in person. It's a rule of law. This is why spies meet on park benches and don't even look at each other when they talk to each other, okay? There's no proof of your deceit that way. But if you're fucking up your own life, it's only a matter of time before it catches up with you. And not everybody's going to be your bitch. One day someone's going to slam the book at you. You're going to fucking prison. One day somebody's going to slam a fucking fist in your mouth. That's not going to be me. I was the guy fucking helping you. But the moral of the story is I'm not going to be losing any quality of my life when there's nothing in it for me except for this alleged sex. That's you came over here to see me. No, you didn't. You told me already. You came over here because you felt empty and you needed to feel something. That's not me. Because what'd you do? Sex. That's penis. That's drugs in your brain being released. Dopamine. Endorphins. Okay? Oxytocin. So you are quite emotional. That's fine. Blame everyone forever if you want. But my question to you is, How long does the average person apply with you? Because they're already gone. You have no one left. How bad is the bad guy when you're codependent and returning to the source of hatred? It can't possibly be everyone. Someone had to tell me once. I used to be not quite as bad as you, but, a little more projecting like you do. And my biological father told me once, and it changed my life near immediately. I can't be the only one that sees it, Kevin. You run into this problem everywhere you go. Now, you've used those same words about yourself, so I'm going to say it to you. I can't be the only one that sees it. Name, you run into this everywhere you go. AKA, at some point, you're going to have to take responsibility for your portion of things because you're seeming to run into the same kind of challenges, which means you haven't beaten them. It's a brand new person, right? Everywhere you go. So how is it the world? Sorry to go on this rant, not sorry. But it fucks with my head, and I wonder. And when I get feedback in some of these situations, it's fun. I wonder why. Toxic shit. Why you keep coming back. I wonder how I can be a bad guy, and everything on the bad guy list are all the traits that you admire and love and appreciate and compliment when you're in good places. I wonder why you don't save yourself if it's such a bad fucking time. I wonder why, if this person, you're afraid of them on any given level or worried about blackmail, which was never said, why you would give them all the ammunition they need to charge you with criminal charges for stalking and for harassment, why you would admit by name under some of these phone numbers that it is you, while you would threaten bodily harm. I mean, that's 3 laws right there. I wonder why, if you're afraid of the fucking blackmail, say, that you would give this person a reason to fight you, a reason to stop you from bringing harm and discontent into their life and into their friends' lives and into their families' lives with the kind of slander and mudslinging and manipulation you do. When you talk to a mutual friend and you talk behind my back and you had no intention but to make me look bad, I wonder why you would do these things if you're afraid of what might happen back to you. That's the real confusion and why I wanted to talk about this. I don't understand, even while you're mixed up, how you could possibly think that waging war with someone with all of this alleged ammunition on you, with all of the records that you need them to remove because you know for a fact you fucked up and left a paper trail of your manipulation, how you think you'll win. Or if it's just the ego is so in the way, if you just have never been told no before or something like that, you just can't stand to be fucking wrong. Because like I pointed out, they'll accuse you of stuff they're doing, or they'll talk about their own life by pointing it at you. I'm not going to dive any deeper. But bitches are crazy, in my opinion. I don't understand how you expect to find success like that. I don't expect how you don't have a job, you don't have any fucking money, you teach, you don't even fully know Japanese, and you teach Japanese and think you're fucking special, right? And you're using people and charging people for that online. That's all well and good. At least you have the occasional income. But I don't know how you think you're really better than people, how you believe that in between the self-loathing. You get to the exact opposite side of thinking you're better than someone while you have less than everybody that you're extorting. You don't have a roof, you're extorting a roof. You don't have a sex partner, I guess, that's just for sex on whatever beliefs you have there. You're a loyal fuck, as you put it. Why wouldn't you pick something easier? It doesn't make any sense to me. You're damaging all of your income. You don't have anything of your own for real. Everything that you get is handed to you on a golden fucking platter by multiple different sources. And you try to destroy those sources and blame those sources while they benefit you and bless you. And then repeat with a new source. It just blows my mind, man. That's why I say codependence. PTSD. She won't admit codependency, probably. But 19 minutes was how long forever lasted. I'm never talking to you again. Sigh of relief from Kevin. I don't have to fight. I don't have to be a bad guy. I don't have to fucking shut this evil tyrant down. But we've been here before, so we know that's not true. 19 minutes later, another phone number texts you. Just got blocked by one identity with her doing all the talking all by herself. And then another phone number comes up 19 minutes later. I'm disappointed. I hope you're disappointed in you. I love you, all of you. I'm not anybody's bitch. I'm not a submissive. I have done the tasks necessary to try to help people. I have exhibited the kindness and the patience and understanding necessary to help people, and hopefully they'll help themselves. That does not make me a punching bag. It does not make me a target. It doesn't make me a worthless human being in between your mood swings. And I do not have to tolerate it, especially as a friend. I do not have to tolerate any of it. I chose to tolerate it because you needed a friend. Wink, 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 wink. You have none. You've told me. I've chosen to tolerate it. I've chosen to support you because you have begged me not to leave. That was you, not me. I was done. You're allegedly done, but come back. I can be whatever decision you make. I'll follow that path and I'll figure it out. But I do not tune into your darkness. You talk shit, I walk off. Fight the wall. Argue with the wall. Go punch the wall and blame me for gaslighting you. Not my fault. Not my problem. Learn some responsibility, bitches. In my opinion. I'm Kevin Chaos. This has been an opinionated piece on the difficulties of female relations. A little bit of a ranty one to discuss some very specific issues that happen enough with people to seem statistically average, but of course they are just in my opinion. I'm not saying that all women are bitches or problems necessarily. This is just an opinion from one person to you. This is not scientific fact. This isn't shit that you're going to read in the textbook. This is just an opinion. Good luck flagging that, LOL. But really, this has been an opinion piece by Kevin Chaos, and I hope you've learned something. I hope you recognize, any of you, don't even have to be women, some of the needs you're placing on others. And if you get them, whether or not you're thankful, and how long those assets and resources last when you continue to push out and destroy these types of things, only to need and want more because now you have even less resources because you've destroyed them. It's just some shit to think about. I'm Kevin Chaos.